Jason sat on the metal bench, staring at the cold white walls of the colony ship. His heart beat fast, not from fear, but from confusion. He had passed all the physical tests, answered every question the AI had asked, and now he was waiting for the final result. A door slid open behind him, and a smooth voice filled the room. Human male, age 28, DNA strong, emotional stability 73%. Reproductive need high. Jason blinked. Sorry, what? He said. The AI didn't pause. To your genetic profile, the colony has assigned you 2 compatible partners. Jason stood up slowly. 2. Did you say to wives? Yes, the AI answered. Your assignment requires reproduction and emotional balance. Your partners have been selected for optimal fertility and bonding. Before he could argue, another door opened to alien. Girls walked in. They were small, slender, and had smooth violet skin that shimmered like soft light. Their eyes were large and glowing. One had long white hair tied behind her back. The other had short silver hair and sharp cheekbones. They wore thin white robes and no shoes. They walked slowly, side by side, without speaking. Jason took a step back. Are they okay with this? The AI answered. They have accepted the pairing as per Colony Law 18C. Their species, the Tleri, is known for high bonding success with human males. The 2 girls stopped in front of him, looking up with quiet expressions, one tilted her head as if studying his soul. The other reached out, gently touching his hand. Jason's heart jumped. Her hand was warm, soft, and shaking a little. He wanted to speak, but his mouth was dry. This didn't feel like a reward, it felt like a test he didn't study for. What if I say no? He asked quietly. The AI answered. Refusal to bond will be reported to central authority. Your status will be reevaluated. Jason looked back at the girls, both still silent, both waiting, not smiling, not angry, just watching. Do they speak English? He asked. Language training in progress. The AI replied. Basic words, understood. Emotional link will assist communication over time. Jason let out a slow breath. Great, he whispered. The girl with long hair stepped forward and placed her palm on his chest. She closed her eyes for a moment, then whispered something in her language, her voice soft and musical. Jason turned to the AI. What did she say? The AI was quiet for a second, then replied untranslatable phrase. Possibly ritual speech. Jason raised an eyebrow. What kind of ritual? The AI didn't answer. That night, he was given a room in the residential zone of the colony dome. Inside, the bed was larger than normal, clearly made for 3. The lights were low. The air smelled clean but strange, like flowers and metal. The 2 girls sat on the floor across from him, folding their legs, staring at him with calm eyes. One finally spoke, slow and soft. You, Jason. He nodded, surprised. Yeah, that's me. She smiled, just a little, then placed her hand on her chest. Sira, the other girl, copied her. Maya, Jason smiled weakly. Sira and Maya. Okay. He sat on the bed, watching them. Do you want to be here? He asked carefully. They looked at each other, then back at him. Maya stood up, walked over, and sat beside him. She touched his arm and tilted her head. Chosen, she said softly. We belong. Jason wasn't sure if that meant they agreed or had no choice. Later, as he tried to sleep, he heard whispering, soft sounds like singing. He opened his eyes and saw them sitting near the window, tracing symbols on the wall with glowing fingers. He sat up. What are you doing? Sira turned and smiled. Protect Dream. Jason lay back down, confused and tired. Sure, thanks. But he couldn't sleep. Too many questions filled his head. Why him? Why 2 wives? And what exactly had the AI planned for them? As his eyes finally closed, he felt a light touch on his shoulder. He turned. Sierra was beside him, her glowing eyes watching his face. She leaned close and whispered the same strange phrase again, the one the AI couldn't translate. Then she smiled gently, lay beside him, and closed her eyes. Jason stared at the ceiling, heart pounding. Whatever this was, it had already begun. She woke him by mistake, her soft fingers brushing his cheek as she reached over him in the dim room. He opened his eyes slowly, confused at first, then remembered. Everything: the colony, the AI, the strange assignment, and the two alien girls who now shared his life. Sarah was kneeling beside him, trying to adjust something on the wall, a glowing symbol that flickered in the dark like a tiny star. Her hair hung down over her shoulder like silk, and she didn't notice he was awake until he moved. She turned, surprised, then whispered, "Sorry, Jason," her voice still careful, each word shaped like it might break. He sat up, rubbing his eyes. "It's okay," he mumbled. "You're doing magic or something?" She shook her head, smiled, then pointed to the glowing symbol. "Home spirit, protect sleep." He blinked. "Right? Sure, that makes sense." But it didn't, not to him. Across the room, Maya was already awake, standing by the window, her silver hair glowing faintly in the rising light. She looked out toward the colony's main dome, where new arrivals were being sorted and scanned by machines. She didn't speak, just watched, like she was remembering something she missed. Jason stood and stretched, noticing for the first time how small the room really was, made for comfort, not privacy. Every inch designed by AI logic and not human warmth. The bed, the walls, the ceiling even. The air, they all felt too clean, too perfect, too quiet. He turned toward Maya. "Do you miss your planet?" She looked over her shoulder, then nodded once. "Blue sky, singing stones, my mother." Sierra joined her quietly, standing just behind, her head resting against Maya's shoulder. Jason felt a strange ache in his chest. Not love, not yet, but something soft, something slow growing, something real. A loud chime interrupted the moment. A voice echoed from the ceiling. "Unit 88A, report to Cultural Orientation Chamber 3A immediately." Jason sighed. "That's us." The chamber was wide and white, full of screens and symbols floating in the air. 3 other humans were already inside, 2 men. 1 woman looking just as lost as Jason felt. Each of them had 1 or more alien partners standing close. The AI voice returned, "Welcome, reproductive units. Today's session, bonding customs and emotional harmonization." Jason leaned closer to the man beside him. "This is nuts, right?" The man laughed nervously. "My wife growls in her sleep, and yesterday she tried to mark me with glowing ink." Jason glanced back at Sierra, and may oath they didn't growl, but they did whisper to walls and paint glowing symbols with their fingers. The screen changed, showing a diagram of 2 body Suman and Talari. It highlighted pressure points, warmth zones, and something called shared resonance. The AI explained. Talari respond to sound and breath, not just touch. Human males are encouraged to synchronize breathing and voice tone to ease bonding stress. Jason raised his hand. "So, wait, I'm supposed to sing to them?" "Not sing," the AI corrected. Resonance. Maya, hearing this, gave him a soft look and said, "You try. We teach later." In the private sound chamber, Sierra and Maya sat cross-legged in front of him, their eyes closed, breathing slow and deep. Jason tried to copy them, but felt stupid. He exhaled, made a humming sound. It wobbled. Sierra opened one eye and giggled, like baby frog. He laughed, shaking his head. "Yeah, well, human lungs aren't built for space opera." But he kept trying. After 10 minutes, something happened. His voice found a rhythm, soft and steady. And the girls responded, their hands reaching out, their breathing matching his. The hum around them felt like a warm blanket wrapping them close. Jason opened his eyes and saw them glowing faintly, their skin reacting to the shared sound, their fingers tangled with his in that moment. He didn't feel like a stranger anymore. That night, Sierra curled beside him without asking, her hand over his chest, her breath against his neck. Maya lay behind him, one arm across his waist, both of them warm, real, alive. He didn't sleep for a long time. He stared at the ceiling, listening to their breaths, feeling their trust, their silence, their strange kindness. Something inside him shifted. He wasn't just an assignment anymore. He was a piece of something bigger, something dangerous, something beautiful. He just didn't know what yet, but he knew it had already begun, and there was no going back. Not now, not ever. A sharp noise broke the stillness like glass cracking underwater. Jason sat up fast, heart racing. He wasn't in his bed anymore. He was floating, weightless, surrounded by dim blue light and strange symbols spinning slowly around him. He opened his mouth to speak, but no sound came out, just breath and confusion. Then a shape formed ahead, a soft glow that turned into Sierra's face, calm but distant. Her voice echoed inside his skull. "You are dreaming in our way now." Jason blinked. "What does that mean?" He tried to say, but no words passed his lips. Yet she nodded, hearing him anyway. "This is how Tlari bond deeper." Her voice was like wind through leaves, inside the silent space. "We show truth." Suddenly, everything changed. Room fell away, and he stood in a wide alien forest under twin suns. Trees as tall as towers shimmered with white leaves, and glowing birds flew past his head. Sierra stood nearby, now dressed in flowing threads of silver and blue. She walked barefoot toward a pool of water that rippled with light. Jason followed, slowly, unsure if this was real or just his mind stretched too far. She knelt at the pool, touched the water, and a vision shimmered across it, a younger version of her, surrounded by Tlari elders, being marked on the forehead. With glowing paint, she looked proud, scared, and very alone. Jason stepped closer. "Is this your past?" Sierra didn't answer in words, just reached up and touched his temple with her fingers. In that instant, he saw everything: her home burned in a civil war, her mother buried by stone, her people scattered, taken as part of the pairing agreement between the Tlari and the Human Federation. She didn't choose him, she was given to him. Jason staggered back, breathless, and suddenly he was in his bed again, sweat on his face, heart beat too fast. He turned and saw Maya standing by the doorway, her eyes glowing in the dark. "You saw," she said softly. Walking to him, "Sierra, show you truth." Jason looked away, ashamed. "She didn't choose me." "No," Maya said, climbing beside him. "But she accepts you, and that is stronger for us." He didn't know what to say. Part of him wanted to run, part of him wanted to fix something, but he didn't know how. The next day, the eye summoned them to a new chamber. This one darker, colder, filled with strange shapes and whispering lights. "Today," the AI announced, "you will learn boundaries and balance." Jason frowned. "What does that mean?" The wall opened, revealing another bonded trio, human woman and two alien males, tall and covered in metallic scales. The human woman looked tired, on edge. The AI spoke again. "Observe what happens when balance is broken." The alien males were fighting not with weapons, but with posture, growls, eye contact, subtle gestures that made the air heavy. The woman cried out, trying to stop them, but they ignored her. Then the lights turned red. Too much emotional pressure, the AI said. Result? Broken bond. Jason looked at Sierra and Maya, suddenly worried. "Can that happen to us?" Maya spoke first. If you choose one and forget the other. Yes, Jason swallowed hard. I wouldn't do that, but deep down, he wasn't sure. Everything was happening too fast, too strange. Later. Back in their room, Sierra placed both her hands on his shoulders, her voice soft and strong. You must not choose between us. Maya stepped closer, touching his chest. You must choose with us. Jason stared at them, confused, afraid, but slowly nodding. I'll try. And then, for the first time, both girls smiled at the same time. Something clicked into place, something that wasn't love yet, but maybe the start of it. The AI's voice echoed once more through the walls. Unit 8 ATEHE Emotional Sync, rising. Continue. Jason lay between them again that night, their fingers tangled with his. He didn't dream in the Clary way this time, but he didn't need to. He already knew the truth now. And it was only going to get more complicated from here. Asterisk, the rain wasn't real, but it felt like it. Cool drops sliding down Jason's arms as he stood alone in the simulation chamber. Above him, a green sky pulsed with distant stars. The fake weather was part of the next phase emotional resistance training. The AI called it, he didn't care. What it was called, he just wanted answers. The dreams hadn't stopped since that night, and now both Sarah and Maya were keeping quiet. Hiding something, moving through the days like ghosts with kind eyes. He wasn't angry, but he was starting to feel like a visitor in his own life. You will now face simulated separation. The AI announced, observe your emotional patterns. Before Jason could ask what that meant, the scene changed. Sarah and Maya were gone. And a cold, empty room replaced the rain, just for blank walls and silence. He waited. 10 seconds. 1 minute 5. Then the anxiety started to crawl inside his chest. He called out, where are they? No answer came, just the humming of artificial lights and the slow ticking of his own breath. The AI voice returned, you are experiencing low-level emotional panic. Common in species with pair bond dependency, especially humans, Jason growled. I'm not panicking. I just want to know if they're okay. Incorrect, the AI replied calmly. You are experiencing emotional disruption due to absence of assigned partners. Suddenly, the door opened. Sarah stood there, but she was different. She didn't smile. She didn't speak. She just stared at him, eyes dull. As if she didn't recognize him, Jason moved closer. Sarah, what's wrong? She stepped back, silent. Then another figure entered Maya, but not his Maya. This one held a strange weapon, her expression blank, soldier-like. Jason froze. This isn't real, he whispered. Correct, said the AI. This is your next challenge. Can you remain loyal and grounded when everything familiar begins to twist? Jason took a step toward them, hands raised. You're not real, but they are. And I don't care what game this is. I'll wait. I'll fight it. Maya raised the weapon. Sarah turned away. The lights flickered. Jason shut his eyes and shouted, I don't give up on them. And everything stopped. The simulation blinked out. The rain returned, but this time it was warm. The chamber door slid open, and the real Sarah and Maya stood there, breathing hard like they had run through their own trials. Maya rushed in first, grabbing his arm, her voice shaking. Did they hurt you? Jason shook his head, confused. No, just scared me. Sarah stepped closer, placing her forehead against his, her breath fast and hot. We were tested too. They made me watch you walk away from me, again and again. Jason held both of them, his arms around their small frames. The wet simulation rain clinging to all three of them. I didn't walk, he said quietly. I waited. That night, their room felt more like a home than it ever had before. Not because of furniture or lights, but because they didn't let go of each other, not even once. No one said much. They didn't need to. In the dark, Maya whispered, Tomorrow, you meet the council. Jason blinked. What council? Sierra looked up at him. Serious now? The ones who approve this pairing, they want to see if you are. Working? Jason repeated. Like a project. Maya nodded to them. Yes, but to us, she placed her hand over his. Heart, you are not numbers. Jason exhaled, a slow breath through his nose. Then let's show them what this really is. None of them slept much. Tomorrow, everything would change again. And Jason had the feeling the real test was only just beginning. Jason didn't know why the air felt thicker the moment he walked into the council chamber, but it did. Not like pressure, more like judgment, silent and heavy. He had faced alien creatures with claws and teeth, but this room of quiet, motionless beings somehow felt worse. 12 counselors sat in a wide circle, each from a different species, scaled, feathered, glowing, some so still they looked carved from stone. Others blinking with eyelids that closed sideways in the center. Jason stood alone, surrounded by white light, the AI hovering behind him like a shadow. Silent for now, then they spoke not in words, but in pulses. Thought threads that entered his mind like cold wind through an open window. You are the human bonded to Sierra and Maya. A voice said inside his head, deep and layered. Jason nodded. Yes. You have passed emotional threshold trials, but we see anomalies. Why have your partner's metrics risen beyond expected bounds? Jason frowned. What kind of anomalies? Affection, desire, protection, guilt, hesitation, all elevated. Sarah stepped forward without being called. Her tone calm but bold. Because we care more than we were told to. Maya joined her. Because it's real now, not just the AI's program. The council's silence stretched long. Then a different voice entered Jason's thoughts. This one, soft, female, curious. Humanwood, you remain with these two even if the bond was severed by us. Jason didn't answer right away. He looked at Sierra. Her eyes were steady but afraid. Then at Maya, her fists clenched like she was ready to fight gods for him. I would, he said at last. Even if it cost me my place here, I'd leave. With them if I had to. A long pause. Then movement. One counselor leaned forward, breaking stillness, and spoke out loud in a language that made Jason's bones tingle. The AI translated immediately. They have decided to upgrade your bond. Status: you will now experience integration phase. Jason turned. What does that mean? Sarah and Maya exchanged a look. Neither seemed excited. Maya answered quietly. It means we go to the core. And we don't come back until all doubts are burned out. The next morning, the three of them were escorted to the lowest level of the station, where no light shone and even the AI went silent. Doors hissed open, revealing a vast chamber of floating orbs, each glowing with slow pulses like heartbeats. Inside each orb another bonded group. Jason stared, stunned. What is this? Sierra answered, it's where pairs and trios go when their bond is questioned or when it's tested to the end. A metallic voice, not the AI, echoed from the walls. Enter your pod. Begin integration phase. The orb sealed around them. Suddenly, no walls, no floor, no ceiling, only stars. Then darkness, then a desert, burning hot. Jason stumbled, the ground underfoot dry and cracked, wind howling across endless sand. Beside him, Sierra and Maya appeared, gasping, disoriented. This isn't real, Maya hissed. It's emotional simulation again. Turned physical. They walked, without direction, under two suns, time melting. Hunger growing, heat crushing. Jason fell when Sierra pulled him up. Maya collapsed. Later Jason carried her. No food came, no water. Just voices whispering in the wind. She doesn't really love you. He'll leave you when someone prettier arrives. You're a replacement, not a partner. They kept walking. Hours, or days. Then the storm came, sand and wind like knives. Jason threw his arms around them both, shielding their bodies as the world screamed, "I won't let go." He shouted into the storm, "I won't let go of either of you." Then silence. Everything faded. They were back in the orb. All three on their knees, trembling, covered in dust that wasn't real. A new voice spoke, clear and loud. Integration, complete bond classification. Stable, high-intensity, unbreakable tier. Jason looked up. Sierra leaned on his shoulder. Smiling through tears, Maya clutched his hand, her lips trembling with pride. He had survived. They had survived. But something deeper had changed. Now, it wasn't just a pairing designed by AI. Now, it was something even the Council couldn't control. Jason had dreamed of stars once bright, endless, peaceful, but now, after the integration phase, stars meant something else, something heavier, something alive. When he woke that morning, his body still ached like the desert heat had followed him out of the simulation. But Maya's head was on his chest, Sierra's hand wrapped around his, and that was enough to make the pain feel worth it. The AI's chime echoed through the room. All three subjects confirmed for post-integration monitoring. Prepare for Phase 6, environmental relocation. Jason blinked. Wait, relocation? Where? No one answered, not even the AI this time. The door opened, and a silent escort team guided them down a corridor none of them had seen before. Metal panels turned to glass, then to strange, glowing stone, until they reached a platform overlooking Space Knot, the artificial view from their quarters. But real space, and docked before them a living ship. It pulsed like a heart, its surface smooth. Organic breathing, Sierra gasped softly. A void. Sarah Fessel, Maya's eyes widened, but those are only used for legacy missions. Deep bond exploration? Jason frowned. You two know more than I do. What's a deep bond exploration? The ship responded before they could. A soft hum rippling across the room as a voice entered their minds, not robotic, not cold, but female and ancient. Welcome, chosen triad. You will now serve as emotional anchors during long-range drift travel. Only bonded units of high stability are trusted for this task. Jason looked at the girls' anchors. Sierra nodded slowly. Our connection is now fuel. Jason. It powers the ship's focus, keeps its mind from shattering in deep drift, Maya added. Most crews go mad without strong emotional grounding. The ship feels everything we feel. Jason stared at the vessel, unsure if he should be proud or terrified. So if we fight, if we lose trust, we die. Sierra said softly. The three of them boarded the ship in silence. Inside, there were no chairs, no control panels, just soft walls, warm air, and a living pulse underfoot. Like walking inside the body of a sleeping god, the ship moved without sound. Outside, the stars stretched like rivers, bending and twisting as the ship slipped into drift space, colors bleeding into one another, laws of physics melting quietly. Then the dreams began. They weren't nightmares. They were invasions. Jason would blink and suddenly be inside Sierra's memories, standing on her homeworld. Watching her parents send her away for genetic training, hearing her sob into a pillow made of crystals. Then Maha's pain failing her first bond attempt, being told she was too emotional for long-term. Pairing, watching the other girls be selected while she sat alone under violet skies. They saw him too, Jason's childhood in a small, rusted earth town. The sound of sirens and silence, the empty dinner table after his father left, the way he kept pretending he didn't care. No one said anything for hours. They just lay there, in the heart of a ship that felt too much and revealed everything. Finally, Maya broke the silence, her voice cracked and raw. I didn't want anyone to see that. Jason turned to her. Me neither. Sierra stared at the ceiling, eyes glassy. But maybe that's why they chose us for what we hide. Then the ship sighed, a soft wave of heat moving through the walls. Like it had felt their acceptance and relaxed for the first time. Jason sat up, heart pounding. Did the ship just respond? The voice returned, quieter now, intimate. Yes. Emotional honesty strengthens navigation. Your bond is feeding me clarity. Suddenly, alarms flared a low, throbbing pulse through the walls. Threat detected, the ship warned, approaching. Vessel, unknown signature, drifting without beacon. Jason's voice tightened. Is it alive? No life signs, Sierra answered, eyes narrowing. But something's wrong. It's pulling drift energy unnaturally. Maha's hand slid into Jason's. It's not dead, starving. The ship turned, heading toward the dying vessel. No weapons loaded, no shields raised, just the three of them, their bond. And the growing knowledge that this wasn't just exploration anymore. It was survival for all of them. Jason didn't feel the ship move. It was like falling forward into a dream while still awake. Time bending, color twisting, his breath stuck in his throat as the living vessel guided them toward the broken, drifting shape ahead. The other ship hung in space like a corpse, metal twisted, panels half open. Its lights flickering in long, irregular pulses, like a heartbeat on the edge of death. Sierra whispered that things not just damaged, it's hollowed out. Maya leaned forward, eyes locked on the wreck, or feeding. Jason frowned. Feeding on what? The AI's voice, sharper now, returned, emotional residue, what you humans call despair. Before Jason could speak, the ship around them pulsed again, almost nervously, and a new voice entered his mind, not theirs. Not their ships. It was cold, hungry. Help me, it said. And Jason felt it, not just the words, but the emotion behind them. A tidal wave of fear. Rage, hunger, and something worse. Loneliness. Sierra's hands shook. It's a bond ghost. Jason looked at her, confused. What's that? Maya answered, her voice flat. A crew that lost their emotional anchor during drifts. So the ship absorbed their memories, their pain, and stayed alive. Jason's blood went cold. You mean it's talking to us, using dead emotions? Their ship trembled slightly, and the walls seemed to breathe faster. Reacting to their fear, the AI warned again. If your bond fractures, you will become like them. Jason looked at Sarah, then at Maya. Then he stood, voice steady. We're not breaking. He reached out and placed his hand on the wall. The living skin of the ship warm under his palm. Sierra Mayokum here. They did, slowly, silently. And when they placed their hands next to his, the ship calmed again, its pulse steadying, its course clear. Jason spoke softly. If that ship feeds on despair, then we show it something it can't consume. Maya frowned. Like what? Hope, he said. The ship around them answered without words, walls opening. Soft hums, rising. It projected a beam of light directly at the broken vessel. A message carried not through code or language, but through feeling. They sent it warmth, memory. The first time Sierra held Jason's hand, the first time Maya laughed so hard she cried. The moment all three fell asleep in a tangle of limbs, safe, scared, but together. The light hit the ghost ship like sunlight touching ice. At first nothing, then it. Scream, high and bitter, filled with every shattered bond, every broken oath, every dying promise. The ghost ship shook, warped, and began to collapse inward. Not from damage, but from release. The pain that had kept it alive burned away. Jason gasped, stumbling back. Maya caught him, heart pounding. It's over, she whispered. Sierra nodded slowly. It let go. Their ship drifted in silence for a while, gliding away from the place where echoes once fed on sorrow. Then the AI returned, calmer than ever before. Mission complete bond verified as exceptional final classification. Legendary triad. Jason blinked. Legendary. Only one other in history ever reached this level. The AI explained, "You three have changed the program's future." Back on the station, the council met them at the docks. No words. Just a silent nod from each species. Then something. Strange, the council bowed. Jason didn't know what to say. He only turned to Sierra and Maya. Both smiling, both strong, both his. And in that moment, the galaxy didn't feel so wide anymore. It felt held together. Not by technology, not by weapons, but by the simplest, strongest force of all. The bond they'd built and refused to break.